Much like the fantasy genre, the sci-fi space is an effortless fed for excellent RPGs. And for PC users, Steam is packed with some standout sci-fi RPGs, sure to suit the tastes of every type of fan of the genre. The overall sci-fi genre lends itself well to the video game medium, in large part due to the diversity of its many subgenres. Whether it's the sci-fi fantasy of the Star Wars franchise, or the gritty cyberpunk of games like Deus Ex and Cyberpunk 2077, there's a specific flavor of sci-fi to match every playstyle. The unique settings of these games immerse players in their worlds as much as their mechanics facilitate the player's preferred style of role-playing, from turn-based games to real-time action, and even shooters. Steam boasts a vast library of beloved sci-fi RPGs that are worth getting lost in.
The original Final Fantasy VII took an even bolder direction away from traditional high fantasy and into sci-fi. Square Enix's current remake trilogy has brought this to life in striking fashion, and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth has an even grander scale. Following the Midgar portion of Remake's story, this second entry takes Cloud and his traveling companions beyond the city walls on their quest to thwart the machinations of Shinra Corp. The company aims to drain the planet's natural Mako energy, which supports life throughout the world, all while Sephiroth continues his plans to achieve higher power. Remake was already praised for how it balanced faithfulness to the source material with some intriguing new plot developments, and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth does the same for recreating its emotional story beats. The massive world is also engaging to explore, and it builds on the already exciting real-time combat system. Rebirth retains its predecessor's exhilarating combat pace, expands the party's abilities, and offers the option to pause the action to issue more tactical commands. It also incorporates the synchronize mechanic from Remake's intermission DLC that lets characters sync their taps.
After redeeming itself through extensive post-launch patches, Cyberpunk 2077 is a must-play sci-fi RPG for anyone interested in the cyberpunk subgenre's style and mood. The game adapts RT Telsorian Games' tabletop RPG and takes players to the dystopic Night City. The protagonist, V, must partner with the cybernetic engram of rockstar Johnny Silverhand embedded within him. It's V's only hope, as he needs to separate Johnny's consciousness from his own before it overwrites his mind. Cyberpunk 2077, especially with the Phantom Liberty DLC expansion, is an incredibly immersive sci-fi RPG that finally lives up to its initial lofty promises. The art direction and graphical quality make exploring and completing quests throughout Night City an atmospheric experience. Players have the freedom to enhance V through different attributes, whether it's cyberware attack, hacking, or the several combat options available to get an edge over enemies. Especially with the distinct regions of Night City, there are plenty of opportunities to complete side quests that flesh out Cyberpunk 2077's layered world.
After spending years honing their craft in Paizo's Pathfinder universe, developer Owlcat Games has shifted to the iconic grim dark sci-fi of Warhammer 4K with Rogue Trader. It's the first adaptation of Games Workshop's tabletop RPG of the same name, taking place in one of this universe's fan-favorite settings. The player creates their custom protagonist and assembles a party of unique characters to explore the largely uncharted Corynus Expanse, a region of space where they can engage in turn-based combat. The CRPG subgenre has benefited from some exciting new games in recent years, and Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader is among the best for those itching for a gritty sci-fi RPG in general. It takes well after the economist TTRPG by keeping the dark feel and giving players a meticulous combat system to tinker with. Combat demands smart use of the player's diverse six-man party, their abilities, as well as the environment around them to turn the tides of battle in their favor. Outside of the turn-based action, Rogue Trader offers plenty of branching dialogue options to mold their adventure as morality and the impact they leave throughout the lore-rich galaxy.
Square Enix and Platinum Games' standalone Nier sequel is great for Steam users wanting hack-and-slash action in their sci-fi RPG experience. Nier Automata is set in a sci-fi, post-apocalyptic world where the main conflict revolves around the proxy war between humanity and aliens, with the former operating from a headquarters orbiting Earth. The main cast, 2B, 9S, and A2 are the human-made androids deployed to combat the aliens' machines, but the truth behind the state of the world gradually begins to unravel through these characters. Directed by Yoko Taro, Nier Automata is a unique sci-fi RPG thanks to its atypical story structure and occasional genre mashing in between the real-time combat sequences. The mystery unfolds before the player as they assume each character's POV, creating an increasing and heartbreaking sense of intrigue. Nier Automata's main hack-and-slash combat system is stylish and satisfying to play, but the swap to shoot 'em up and text adventure-style minigames offers an interesting change of pace.
Guerrilla Games' Horizon series is one of the newer IPs in the action RPG subgenre. After a successful debut with Zero Dawn, Horizon's Forbidden West improves upon its predecessor in terms of mechanics and open-world design. This sequel focuses on Always Quest into the southwestern United States of this sci-fi, post-apocalyptic reimagining of the future. The heroine is determined to uncover the root of this enigmatic, deadly plague making its way across the landscape. Now available for Steam PC users, PlayStation's Horizon Forbidden West features one of the most stunning sci-fi open worlds in modern-day gaming. That says something considering its predecessor already presented an impressive open-world sandbox, and Forbidden West adds an even greater sense of scale to exploration. Gliding and underwater exploration, and the many exciting robotic beasts found there give players even more incentive to go off the beaten path. Forbidden West also gives players improved freedom in how they tailor Always build for combat, offering a variety of ranged weapons and more engaging melee options for action. BioWare's original Mass Effect series makes a strong case for being one of the best video game trilogies, regardless of genre. That makes the relatively recent remastered collection, Mass Effect Legendary Edition, one of the best values on Steam for any fan of sci-fi RPGs. Now with a new code of graphical paint and quality of life enhancements, players can assume the role of Commander Shepard, gather their crew for the Normandy, and save the world from the invading Reapers and Collectors. Sci-fi RPG fans looking for a space opera saga and video game form will be hard-pressed to find a more value-rich package than Mass Effect Legendary Edition. The way players can shape the story, side quests, and the social elements with their companions all culminate in one of the most compelling and emotionally investing stories in RPGs. Moreover, the Mass Effect series' mix of snappy third-person shooting, sci-fi powers, and squad-based action makes for a fun and accessible combat system.
With Obsidian Entertainment's The Outer Worlds 2 set to release this fall, now is a great time for Steam PC users to pick up the original game. The Outer Worlds is an aboriginal sci-fi RPG that takes place in an alternate future where megacorporations rule over entire star systems. The protagonist is a survivor from a lost colony ship and finds himself unraveling a conspiracy threatening to devastate the Halcyon colony. Living up to the pedigree of the studio's work with Fallout Vegas is a tall order. Even so, this galactic-themed sci-fi RPG should appeal to fans of the Fallout series' exploration and ability to alter branching story beats. The Outer Worlds makes good use of its comparatively tighter scope compared to other, more open-world RPGs by using a vivid art direction. It makes the game's locales stand out aesthetically, and the character-driven gameplay for improving the protagonist's combat, stealth, and social skills offers enough room for player agency.
Bethesda's Fallout series has become the go-to post-apocalyptic RPG franchise in gaming, and in the years since the IP shifted from its previous publisher and turned into an action RPG series, Obsidian Entertainment's Fallout New Vegas has emerged as the new fan favorite. The story begins as the player's courier protagonist is nursed back to health after an assassination attempt and robbery of their package. From there, the protagonist ventures across the dystopic Mojave Desert and becomes dragged into a three-way faction conflict over control of the region. Fallout New Vegas is a deeply engrossing sci-fi RPG that feeds player curiosity for exploration and influencing the many stories the protagonist can get involved in. It retains the signature that system for its tactical, shooter-based combat, letting players build their courier's arsenal however they see fit. But the most impressive aspect of New Vegas is its dialogue writing, which naturally translates into the character role-playing. Especially in the side quests, players are given several creative options for problem-solving and influence the narrative.
Developer Eidos Montreal's Deus Ex: Human Revolution is filled with classic cyberpunk tropes that fans of movies like Blade Runner will appreciate, from societal decay at the hands of ravenous megacorps to the controversy surrounding mankind's blurring of the line between humanity and technology. Its narrative is also anchored by a gripping conspiracy thriller storyline to boot, and players can heavily influence the plot through Jensen's decision-making. That freedom of choice extends to how players choose to tackle threats in main and side quests, as they can engage in first-person shooting, melee, and stealth to complete high-stakes missions. BioWare's original Mass Effect series makes a strong case for being one of the best video game trilogies, regardless of genre. That makes the relatively recent remastered collection, Mass Effect Legendary Edition, one of the best values on Steam for any fan of sci-fi RPGs. Now, with a new coat of graphical paint and quality of life enhancements, players can assume the role of Commander Shepard, gather their crew for the Normandy, and save the world from the invading Reapers and Collectors.
While fans are still anxiously waiting for Saber Interactive's remake of Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, the original, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, is still one of the franchise's finest in the video game medium. This sci-fi CRPG takes players nearly 4,000 years before A New Hope to a different age of the Jedi versus Sith conflict. Players assume the role of their customized Jedi protagonists as they later form a party and travel the galaxy to defeat Darth Malak and the Sith Armada he's mobilized against the Jedi Order and the Republic. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remains one of the BioWare's best works. The sci-fi RPG feels familiar enough to what fans have loved from classic movies, while fleshing out an evocative yet rarely seen era of Star Wars mythos. It also lets the players flex their creativity and role-playing tastes with its Dungeons and Dragons-like a class, subclass, and ability mechanics, as well as the real-time with boss combat system akin to other CRPGs, including BioWare's Baldur's Gate games. For more grandiose Star Wars storytelling and gameplay that lets players mold their protagonists tactically and in role-playing, Knights of the Old Republic is an easy recommendation.